Welcome, welcome everyone. So I wanted to do a live stream today. Really I was just inspired last night to go ahead and do a full moon healing event for us today. So hello everyone, I'm Rachel Chase, meditation teacher, intuitive guide, holistic mental health coach. And I'm here today to hold space for the healing of our shadow. And that is a big topic that I won't have enough time today to cover it all. But I'm going to pull up my notes because I went for a walk yesterday and just was feeling very intuitively guided. You know, we can refer to this as channeling or receiving downloads, insights, wisdom from within. And I'm very grateful to also be so inspired by other teachers and healers and colleagues on the path and what they're up to and what we're all up to really right now collectively as a human collective, what we're all going through. And I'm inspired by my clients and my students who teach me so much daily. I learn so much from our sessions and our work together and all our courses, and it's a beautiful journey that we're on together. But today, what I'd like to talk about is this idea of healing the shadow, doing shadow work, and what that even is. Excuse me. Yes. So we are in wild times, right? There is a lot going on. And what I would love for us to do today is I'm going to guide us in some energy healing and for us to be able to release some of the heaviness that we're experiencing in our bodies, in our minds, and in our personal life because of all of the upheaval that's going on in the world. And to release some of these energies of fear and despair, and to hold space for the light within us to brighten up, to bring in some joy energy. And what better day to do that than on a full moon such as this? We are right now experiencing a full moon in Virgo, which means the moon is traveling through the astrological sign of Virgo. And right now the sun is in Pisces. And in just a few days' time, we have the equinox, the spring equinox. So spring is about to sprung. It's going to be Aries season, and Aries season is the time of new beginnings. It's the astrological new year. And so we're closing out this cycle and moving into a new cycle. And of course, we're closing out a bigger cycle of human existence, thousands year cycles that ancient prophecies have spoken about from our own collective heritage memories through the ancient prophecies that have spoken about this very time that we're all going through collectively. And so I want to bring in a lot of compassion for what we're all going through and help all of us have more compassion for our personal lives because of what we're going through collectively. And I think sometimes we want to kind of push our way through, but pushing is not the answer right now. And so that's why today's theme is about balance and harmony and healing the shadow and light, really accepting that within us is shadow and light. And so often we want to just be in the light, to be in the light. But here's the thing, when we deny our shadow, what can happen is it gets suppressed, and then we have these triggers or relationships or situations that happen. And those parts of ourselves that right now I'm referring to as the shadow, we'll get into that a little bit more here today about what I mean by that. And I know I'm not the only one who talks about this. This isn't a concept that is I'm inventing. This is a concept that has been around in various esoteric teachings as well as psychological teachings. And Carl Jung is someone who really brought a lot of awareness to this, and in terms of our story of who we are and who we want to be. And so today we're going to be delving into that a little bit deeper. And I think, but first, what I'd like to do is just say that right now, whatever you're going through, intuition and grounding and connecting deeply with the present these are our allies right now on the path of compassionate living. And so what does that mean, compassionate living? Versus what other way of living, right? Versus maybe more of the living from the place of, not that this is necessarily a bad or wrong thing, but ambition can sometimes come in and run the show and put us into tunnel vision. And that's what I see is happening in our world, is that there has been a tunnel vision of ambition to succeed at all cost, regardless of the casualties or the losses that may happen. And so here we are in continual upheaval for a while now, right? It's just one thing after another. And so we're being hit with these triggers every day. And so many people right now are going through a lot of pain and suffering. Yeah. And for some of us, where it's not necessarily happening in our backyard per se, or not happening to us personally per se, we might wonder, well, how do we reconcile our lives in contrast to what's happening everywhere else? And many of us have experienced great loss over the last few years. We're grieving in a lot of ways. Loss of homes or jobs or family or friends, or divisions caused by the conflict in belief systems, or the way that this side perceives versus this side, all this division, right? All of this really hate that's come into our hearts. And so we need to heal that. We need to heal that, and we need to heal that with a profound wisdom of compassion. And it starts inside. It starts with us. It starts with each of us doing that for ourselves. And so today's full moon, right this moment, is a gift. It's an opportunity to bring closure to any parts of ourselves right now at this moment that are ready to come back together if they've been separated. So all the separation we see in the world, all the division, all the aggression and the hate and the oppression that's going on, that's coming to the surface in such massive ways, and probably will continue to do so for quite some time. And all of these systems that are falling apart, we see all that, and we could go into a despair. And so what I'm asking us to do today is to bring in this beautiful, clear, healing light, and to also bring in the reminders that the rhythm of doing and being is truly the wisdom of the time right now. And what I mean by that is we can get so caught up with all of it and forget that our daily life and our happiness does matter, that we can create a better world. It might seem kind of impossible or daunting sometimes for many, but what I'm seeing is that we are actually doing that in the midst of all of this chaos. So today I want to bring in some beautiful energy work for us, some soothing, loving kindness into our systems, and let this be one of those moments of pause throughout your day. Because all of the doing is kind of a trauma response that I'm seeing happen. Hurrying to get to the next thing and feeling like we should be somewhere other than where we are, or farther along on our progress, whether that's spiritually or in our careers or in our lives, or we should feel a certain way, but we don't. All of those shoulds are ways that we're criticizing ourselves. And it's that self-criticism that is part of the shadow. That's part of the ways that we create the shadow aspects. We all have shadow aspects. We're human beings. You know, these aspects of, well, we can look at the archetypal aspects of shadow, such as envy, greed, hate, right? Like these darker emotions. But we can also look at the shadow as all those ways in which we were told to not be, all those ways we were told we were not allowed to be. We're not allowed to, for example, for a lot of women, in our case, the messages were to sit down, shut up, and look pretty, to play your role as a good girl. And so anytime the good girl started to get upset and angry, that was ugly. Don't be ugly, right? Don't be angry. Don't cry. Come on, buck up, or whatever, right? Whatever the message was that we were given. So that's a way that shadow gets created too, because if we're not allowed to feel angry, if we're not allowed to feel upset about something or confused or be wild, then we suppress ourselves. We start to stifle our energy, and that creates a lot of tension inside. And that tension can turn into all kinds of things: restlessness, a sense of scatteredness, a sense of not feeling able to connect with others, or not feeling safe, just a general sense of always being on the lookout for danger. And that's a trauma response. And always being on the lookout is something that I'm seeing a lot happening in our world with everything that's going on. People are triggered and afraid. And so we need to have a lot of compassion for the complexity of this, that there's a lot of it that has to do with our own personal wounding from the past, and the whole thing that's happening collectively is like a conglomeration of that. Because each and every individual all over the planet has this heritage of wounding, all of the wars that have happened through time, all of the oppression that's ongoing through the generations. And so our heritage is that we inherit this. We also inherit a lot of good things too, right? Love and compassion and connection and empathy. And so these are all that's all the light side, right? The positive attributes and the negative attributes. We're all human and we all have aspects of all of these within us. So the first step is to reflect, to be aware, just to be aware. That's the first step of really working within ourselves. This is about self-compassion. This isn't about being selfishly compassionate only toward ourselves, but when we do this shadow work, it's about working within it's an inside out job. It's about working with what is here within us, which creates an effect in our relationships, which helps us be more capable and able to be in connection with the world rather than afraid and shut off from it. So this is just a little bit of shadow work, self-compassion work 101. And I'm going to be getting into that much more deeply, and I'm so looking forward to it. I have an upcoming course that I'm teaching called The Art of Self-Compassion, which is really a group training and process that starts on April 21st. So if you're interested in that, let me know. You can go to my website, rachelchase.com. In fact, I'll put the link for the course in the video description after this is uploaded. Once the live ends, I'll go back in and put the link there for you. So let's really be in awareness right now of what is happening within our being right now. Let's come into the state of presence, because presence, being in the state of presence, people talk about wanting to unblock their chakras or connect more with their energy and the energy of the cosmos with Reiki. When we talk about energy work and healing in that way, I always want to bring it back to a really grounded perspective to remind you that the state of being present is the place where our chakras can be in alignment and open, because this is where we're available to what's happening now, and we can be in the receptivity, and we can focus on our breath and focus on grounding and being in more in our own heart space. This is where we're more available to the higher mind energies, to the spiritual connection, and to the wisdom that wants to come through. Because more and more and more and more, what we're realizing and waking up to in our evolutionary process as humans is that the solutions that we're looking for in our lives exist in the now. And that can really feel conflicting because our ego and our inner child, the parts of us that still kind of worry and wonder and don't feel safe, maybe, or didn't get healed, or didn't get to express themselves, or didn't get the validation they needed. These are the parts of ourselves along the way that we're gathering up to bring along into maturity now. These parts of ourselves have been trained, let's say, have been trained and conditioned and programmed through the field of social programming, right? There's such a thing called social construction, right? The constructs of society that we've put in place that have said there's rules and there's solutions. You must look to the past to find out what those are. But that's not the reality we're living in anymore. The reality we're living in is the solution is in the moment. And that can feel shaky, because what that requires from us is a deep trust in our intuition and a deep trust in life itself. And when we look outside and we see what's happening and we say, well, if that's what life is, what am I supposed to be trusting here? But this is about trust in the energy of life itself, in the earth, in the livingness of life, the unfolding, that life is unfolding and it has its own innate intelligence, that life itself knows what it is doing. And that you and I are expressions of that innate intelligence of life. Even if our ego doesn't think it knows what it's doing, or our ego thinks, I don't know how to navigate this whole world now that we're in this new space. I wasn't given the tools for this. That's just it. We weren't given the tools for this, not in the 3D world social construct realm. We weren't given them through that mode. But we do have the tools inside of us, and it's called the intuition. It's called the knowingness within. And the way to get there is through the path of compassion. So we start to clear the layers. We clear the layers of fear, doubt, and worry to get down into connection with trust. And this is a day-to-day thing. This is a daily activity. And the things that we can do to help that along are to do the things that bring us the most peace, to do the things that show ourselves that we're willing to love ourselves unconditionally. Okay, so maybe the question arises then, how do we get from finding out how to love ourselves unconditionally to being able to trust that we'll be able to get through this and be supported? It's all connected. It's a journey, and I'm calling it today, what came through, this just was all these downloads yesterday, the journey of the witness. The journey of the witness. Okay, so let's go on a little journey of the witness right now and bring in the energy and do some direct work with the self-compassion to bring up something specific. So this Virgo full moon right now is about healing. Virgo is healing. It's the earth element. It's excuse me, it's wisdom around that. And then Pisces, the sun is in Pisces, and Pisces is, the dreams. It's our psyche. It's the subconscious. It's our connection in the multidimensional realms. And it's a water element. So we have earth and we have water here to support us right now in this endeavoring to go into our deeper states of consciousness, our own multi-dimensional inner realms, that's Pisces, to bring about the deep healing that wants to come through, and that's Virgo. And the balancing of the shadow and light is the eclipse that's the equinox. I'm getting ahead of myself. There's eclipse in in the next month in Aries. There's going to be an eclipse, but this weekend is the equinox. So equal, light and dark, shadow and light, sun and moon, doing, being. The dark is not to be feared. Dark is not to be feared, but we fear it because we won't look at it. And that's when things can creep up, when we're not aware. Just one more thing before we go into the process is just think about the fact that we all have the shadow side, and there's nothing wrong with our shadows, so long as we aren't doing one of these two things. Now, here's when it becomes problematic, let's just say. Here's when the shadow can become dysfunctional. When we're either in denial of its existence and we don't want to look at it and we keep it hidden away, all those ways that we feel shame, or those ways that we have abandoned our own selves, and we put it over there and we're in denial, and so we're just kind of getting through and pushing through, but we don't want to just look over here because we just want to stay in the light. So this is denial. The other way that it becomes problematic is if it's running the show. It's just running the show and it's out of control, right? And we don't know how to reel it in. That's when the fear is running the show, the worry is running the show, the hate is running the show, and we just want to blame everybody else. And then we have all that conflict. So that's the two opposite ends of the spectrum of shadow. And so if we can find the middle way here and learn to accept the shadow sides of ourselves and bring in all of the love principle, and love, this is why we say love is the healer, love is the answer. Not denial, not punishment, because punishment just creates more conflict and hate, right? This isn't about punishing ourselves, all the ways that we place conditions on ourselves. Like, I'll do good things for myself if I'm a good girl, essentially is what that says. That's conditional love, which many people are trained in conditional love. That's how it's been passed through the generations. If you're good, I will love you. If you do as I say, I'll treat you well. Or if you don't, I will ignore you. So these are the ways that we get conditioned as children to conditionally love ourselves. And this is because the signals from the outside world all reinforce that. Religion many times and reinforces that. Not always, but many times reinforces that. The corporate world reinforces that, So I just wanted to bring that awareness in before we go into the process, because then we're really bringing in a deeper understanding of why we need to do this for ourselves and why it matters for the world that we're creating together, because it is up to us to do the work so that we can be in connection with each other, and that being in the now together invites in, the solutions that are required in order to create this better world we know is possible. So let's do the work of bringing in the energy right now. And I want you to think about what you're bringing up for healing right now in your life, your health. What can you do to bring in greater well-being for yourself? What is a habit that you're trying to shift right now? Or, this is a really good time for detoxing. This is a really good time as we go into spring to clear and release, to drink more water, to cleanse our energy, to balance ourselves, and to invite in a healthy balance between rest and activity, to take time to pause, to recharge. So I want you to think about what you're healing right now in your life. What needs healing? What is it that you're working on connecting, resolving, bringing closure to, that you're ready to say, okay, I've been going along in this way, and now it's time for me to shift it in a better direction for myself, because I know I can. And really make that your mantra today. So what does that mean you need to release? Really release. Is it a thought pattern? Was it a belief? Is it a habit of speaking? Because boy, our thoughts and our words really run the show, don't they? So just think about what it is that needs to be released here. And as you're thinking about this, I want you to be now aware of what are the sensations that are coming up inside of your body as you're doing this. Because this is where the emotional body comes into play. The energy of our emotions informs our actions and our thoughts in many ways. And what we think about our emotions informs how we feel about ourselves. So if we hate an emotion, like, I don't want to feel that, I hate it when I feel that, I wish that would go away, that emotion is probably going to get stronger because we're criticizing ourselves for having that emotion. We're criticizing ourselves for feeling a certain way or for thinking a certain thought. So the antidote isn't to punish ourselves or to continually criticize ourselves. We can even have compassion for the critic too, because we know where that came from. That another imprint, another internalized, conditioned response to criticize ourselves. So it's time to think about new ways that you can bring in compassion for your inner critic. Okay, I see where you came from, and I realize you're trying to keep me safe, but it's not necessary. And then come back to your heart. And so if we're trying to switch a habit, a lot of times the reasons why we aren't able to do it is because we're so hard on ourselves. We place conditions around it, right? And we get so upset, and then we just go right back to it because we feel defeated. So what does the heart have to say? What does love have for us here? And this is where holding space with breath and compassion comes in. And I'd like us now to just pause and imagine some energy. It's going to bring us into a guided meditation where we connect more with the physical sense of being and the breath, and take some deep breaths now. And feel that you're grounding with the earth. You're connecting with Mother Earth, the trees, the grass, the soil, the ocean, the plants, and you're sensing that there's growth inside of this beautiful earth. We're coming into spring, new growth, and that's happening within you too. And this energy, this life energy, is coming into your being. And I want you to take a slow breath and draw the earth energy, the life energy, up into your body, all the way up to the top of your head, as if new life is sprouting. And open up to the solar energy and the lunar energy and the cosmic energies, the goddess energy of creation and creativity and Shakti power, to draw that down to fuel your beautiful new sprouts and to bring all the nutrients and to bring a sense of clearing any toxicities down and out into Mother Earth to be recycled. We're not sending toxicity into Earth. We're sending this old energy that the Earth then can utilize. It's like fertilizer. So breathing through and allowing that to go down into your gut and down through your root and down into the earth, and just shake your body a little bit and do some sweeping motions, and imagine beautiful waterfall energy, watery energy coming into your being to clear and release any of those heavier energies that you've been carrying around, and use your breath and be in your heart and give yourself messages of kindness. And give your body a message that says, I am safe. You are safe. I am protected. It's okay to feel tired sometimes. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. And just imagine that as you go throughout your days, you're pausing to take those breaths and to recharge your battery throughout your day so that you're not depleted at the end of the day. Just pause, just breathe and receive life energy. Drink some water, bring in the loving kindness to yourself. And remember some of those things that you're doing to shift your thinking to a more compassionate perspective for yourself, for what you're going through. Every time you go into that mode of should or blaming yourself, pause for a moment and just notice it. This is the journey of the witness. The witness is here as your ally to create some space between the critic and you. And just by doing that one activity of bringing awareness in the moment, it creates space. And this space is where life energy can come in. And this space is where the solutions are. And this space is where we can say, okay, universe, I'm ready for you to assist me with this now. Thank you. It's in the spaces in between where our bodies re-regulate themselves, where our minds recalibrate, where our energy can be replenished. This has been a huge lesson for me in my life to slow down. I am a true Gemini. I was born in the year of the rabbit. It's like I'm kind of fidgety by nature. My doshas are Vata, Pitta. If you know what doshas are, we can talk about that another time. But so it so behooves me to remember to connect more with the energies of water and earth, because I have a lot of air and fire. Luckily, my rising sign is Capricorn, so that helps a lot. But the thing about this energy that we're in right now is so much intensity, right? So much intensity, my friends. And this is why we have to have a deep compassion for ourselves when we're triggered, or the shadow side comes up, or we start to get like, I don't like that, and I'm gonna come into self-righteousness and start to blame other people and judge each other. It's all that is the shadow. It's all the shadow. And it's all coming up in our human collective right now to be healed. So the perspective that we need to fear it all is only going to contribute more to the shadow intensity. But when we can step more into witnessing it and realizing, okay, this is the nature of the times that we're in, where it's all coming up, things are going to be breaking down as the new is being created, and that you and we are part of the new that is being created. Step into your light body. Be the light. Yes, be the light. I'm not saying don't be the light because you have shadow. Be the light that is able to handle looking at the shadow. And some days we can't handle it. Some days it's too much. I get that. Some days I feel it too. It's intense and it's a struggle. And it's like, okay, step back, rest, go outside, reset, recharge. Use your tools. Connect with the breath, come back to the grounding. So now we're going to move into closing this process and bring in this beautiful loving light of intention. We're going to bring it down into our bodies and thread it, weave it through all of our hearts, and send it out into the field. A big wave of white light, of golden light, of pink light, whatever color you want to see as loving light that's just waves and waves and waves going into the stratosphere, into all the hearts of all the beings everywhere, to heal our human family with love and compassion. Everyone, even the people you don't like, send them love right now. Send love to them all. Send love, send love, send love. And anything that you need to let go of from your own past right now, we're doing this for all of us. I want you to say, I send you back with love. I send you back with love. I send you back with love. And if it feels like it's in your body, use your hands and breathe. I send you back with love. I send you back with love. I send you back with love. Anything that you've taken on that's not yours, I send you back with love. I send you back with love. I send you back with love. We have been in a time of such deep empathy that wants to come for so much suffering. So when you feel that you're taking it on too much, this is the thing about us empaths and highly sensitive people, when we take it on, we really feel it. So you can shift that. You do not have to hold it in your body. I send you back with love. And you literally imagine that all of it is being sent back to who it belongs to, not out of maliciousness or revenge. This isn't about a hex that we're putting on someone. This is just about a boundary, a healthy boundary, to signal to our system that we don't need to take on things that are not ours internally. We can care compassionately and do compassionate acts to assist and help in bringing about more good and assistance in the world without taking it in. Now, as soon as you start to sense you're taking it in, is the time to pause, bring in the witness, recognize, okay, now maybe I'm feeling like I should be doing more than I am and I'm not doing enough, and all that starts to come in. That's a sign that you're getting depleted. It's time to step back and recharge and do the things that bring you peace. With our shared focus, we can shift the energy. So we're holding the intention that each and every one of us are becoming more capable and more able as our inner abilities come online even more, because they're going to continue to do so. We're more able to shift our thinking, our reality, our consciousness, and life itself. We're going to be learning more and more about what those abilities are as we evolve as a species. So this is all very new in many ways to us. Again, have compassion for that. Growing pains, we are going through them, and it is real. It is a real thing. You're not going crazy. You're not making it up. It's not all in your head. We're all experiencing this together. So leaning on each other for support, reaching out when you need it, getting the skills, and using deep compassion for yourself. And tonight, go outside, even if you can't see the moon, and just receive the healing energy of this Virgo full moon. Draw it into your psyche, into your body, and release and clear and send it into the earth. Bring the water energy in big time right now to free yourself from whatever patterns are ready to just go. Do some journaling about what you're releasing, journaling about what you're bringing in, and journaling about how you're going to give yourself more unconditional love. A mantra you can use is, I love myself. At least you can say this one. How about this? I am willing to love myself unconditionally. I am willing to love myself unconditionally. I am willing to love myself unconditionally. And that is how we create balance and harmony. Taking those pauses, balancing doing and being, and holding space from the place of the witness for when the shadow comes. And as I said, we'll be going in deeper into this work on my upcoming journey that starts April 21st. It's called The Art of Self-Compassion. I would love to have you there. The more we do this work for ourselves, the greater impact and effect we can have in the world. I'm sending you all my love and richest blessings, and I will see you on the other side. Reach out anytime at rachelchase.com. I love you all. Sending you peace and blessings. Ciao for now. Bye-bye, everyone.